We're Greyhaven, and you're watching Soundlink TV.
What's everybody? Trenton here with Soundlink TV in Charlotte, North Carolina with Greyhaven. How you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Doing well, thank you.
Awesome. So you guys are doing these little, I guess, limbo shows. They're not necessarily tour, but little, off shows with like Hopesfall, third CD release show and all that. All of them been sold out, including tonight and stuff. So what's that experience been like for you guys?
It's been incredible. I mean, we didn't really know about them. I mean, we weren't like huge fans. We knew that like they were like reputable back in the day. And so like getting to be on these shows, we got to learn all about them. And it's just been like, I don't know. It's yeah, you say so.
That and then they're just awesome dudes. It's been a blast hanging out with them,
Okay.
Like that's been fun. But yeah, seeing them live and seeing the reaction of a band being back together, I guess after like 12 years, and watching a crowd do all that, or seeing someone be able to like still have it after all that time. A lot of bands wait 12 years, put out a record, and no one seems to care anymore.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone cares. So that's been really cool to see.
What happened to us is we got introduced to them through their comeback, so that was a cool experience. And the shows have been sick. I mean, yeah, they've been sold out, and there have been people there watching us. And, I mean, they've been killing it every night. I didn't know much about their music, like we just said beforehand. And, like, the 2 singles they put out are incredible. I'm excited to listen to the record some more. But, yeah, I don't know. It's been sweet. It's been really, really cool.
Okay. Now, you guys have been coming up, too, this year and everything with your new record and stuff. You guys have already toured with Norma Jean, which is, I saw that show in Atlanta, which is nuts and stuff. And so you guys are getting these big opportunities as well, getting your own following, and people are coming to see you guys on all these shows, too. So what's that journey been like for you guys coming up, getting signed and putting out this record and just having all these kids just, like, eat it up, calling it the album of the year in some cases and all that?
Definitely been wild. Like, it was really cool to get the opportunities. The tour was cool, and signing has been really cool. These are things we didn't ever really expect to really get to do. We've kind of just been cutting teeth for the last few years, just trying to tour, and if 5-6 people show up and know who we are, we're happy. And these last few shows, on these tours we're doing, like, more and more people are knowing the words and like just praising the record some and everything, and it's wild. It's really sick.
It's a good feeling, Yeah.
Very sick.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think the first time I saw you guys were a couple of years ago in a small venue in South Carolina with Knocked Loose before they got signed. And so, like, I mean, and like even Varial's being in that mix too on some of those tours. Like you three bands are just like going up right now, so which is insane for this style of music you guys play. It's so heavy, it's not necessarily the mainstream type of music or whatever. So for I guess the hardcore, the whole chaotic stuff, whatever you want to call it, like seeing that genre of music come back to the forefront of the scene and everything, like, what's that been like?
I feel like there is some kind of revival of like hardcore, metalcore, kind of old school metalcore kind of stuff coming up. Like increasingly these bands start and they get more and more popular, which has been really sick. Like kind of been in the trenches on that for a few years, just like they have, and definitely like Knocked Loose and all them have, and Left Behind in those bands. Like it's really, really cool to see that it's starting to like expand so much, and that there's actually starting to be like a foundation scene for it, like that niche, not just heavy music in general, but like that niche is blowing up again. It's sick.
Especially after, I feel like a lot of the bands we were all into, I feel like there's been this huge gap in between them and I guess any newer bands really trying to like go after that sound anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone's like, oh, what's the new record you're looking forward to? And it's always been what we're looking forward to. It's like the next Norma Jean record or the next Dillinger. It's always those bands and never a new one. So it's been cool that lately I feel like there has been a resurgence and there has been people trying to do that instead of these old cats that have been doing it forever.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too because, I grew up on the solid state bands, and all that stuff too. So seeing, bands like you guys and Limbs and bands like that, putting out these heavy, thrashy, chaotic, whatever you want to call it, records is really good because, those bands can't do it forever, and we need younger bands such as you guys to carry that torch and to become, I guess, the modern face, new face of that kind of stuff. And so, but I have heard, there is a difference between what you guys did on this new record and what you guys done on the past and everything in terms of, I guess, the style and stuff. So, like, when you guys are writing this, what kind of influences went into this record, lyrically and musically?
Definitely the addition of these two played a huge part in the sound change, but only for the better. It is insane having these two on board. Like, you're bringing a bunch of different styles in that he played in a band. They both played in bands back home that we really liked and stuff. So, like, having that kind of integrated to what we were already doing was obviously going to yield some kind of different results, but, like, I don't know, we spent so long writing it and we wrote so many songs that we just had a lot of time to really figure out what we wanted to do, whatever we ended up doing, like, I don't know, there's a whole lot of different influences I feel like we pulled into this record.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we and him were like huge fans of the first Greyhaven record, and we weren't on it obviously, and we joined shortly after. And when we started writing, it was like never a thing. Like, we wanted to make sure it was still sounded like what old Greyhaven was, and it's just sort of like just naturally came out the way it did. And it's sort of like the thing going back to like the resurgence of like the metalcore and all those old bands. Like, we didn't try to make it like that. It was just like, it wasn't forced. Like, we weren't trying to be a part of a trend or whatever. It was like, those were bands that we loved, so that's what naturally was going to come out. So it feels good that like it's getting recognition the way it is.
Yeah.
Whenever it was something true to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about vocally and stuff? Because, there, obviously there's the screaming and stuff, but the singing stuff too, it's not, the usual type of singing either. It's I guess it's, I don't know what to call it, it's just a different type, and so, like, even with the singing and stuff, like, what kind of, and vocally and all that, what kind of influences were there for that?
Honestly, it comes from a place of not ever knowing what to do, like, I just like to experiment with a lot of different things, and some of it comes from joking around at practice and having fun, and then you look back at it and it's like, oh, that's actually interesting, to hear. Like, I try not to take myself too seriously when writing melodies for parts, because a lot of it is fun. Like, it's a lot of fun to do, and I don't have to think too much about it to do some of the more weirder stuff, because I just don't ever know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just experimenting with a lot of different things. I feel like I always get stoked on whatever couple records I'm listening to, and I don't try to pull from those like directly, but I feel like they definitely make their way into like things that I think sound cool to try out. When I hear a vocalist that I haven't heard before do something I haven't heard before, I'm like, I wonder if I can pull that off, like, and we'll just do it at practice for fun, but eventually if it might end up like actually in a song. So I mean, there's a couple of those things too that wind up in there, but yeah, I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it. There was a interview or like a album review from our first record, and this kid said that I was like a one-trick pony, kind of doing the same thing the whole record, and that really, like, it didn't offend me, but it stuck with me. I like really wanted to make sure that I didn't get that comment again, like interested in doing different things. Like, we're all interested in writing a whole bunch of different things, so I guess that has a lot to do with it too, just not being afraid to write a really soft song and then write a really heavy song and then, I don't know, do just whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So what's next for you guys and everything going on to the fall and everything? You guys doing any more tours? You guys are just going to take a break? You've had a busy year. What's next for you guys for the rest of the year that you can talk about?
We're taking, I guess, a small break preparing and doing some stuff the next couple months. And then we'll be the opener on a fall tour that hasn't been announced yet.
Okay.
That I don't think we're at liberty to announce until it has been announced. But yeah, we'll be doing a big tour in the fall. So
Okay.
we'll be out a bunch rest of this year. Just next 2 months, we're taking a little bit of time off and maybe writing some and getting some things together to be ready for all that.
Forever to write.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for talking to us today and everything. Looking forward to see you guys tonight once again, and then looking forward to that tour that's not announced yet.
Thanks.
All right. I'm Trent with SoundlinkTV here with Greyhaven. Thanks for watching, everybody.